personal narrative style under a title like Mrs. Clara's Golden Rules for Living Alone, a heartwarming and reflective take that fits well under a Stories of the Elderly theme. Mrs. Clara's Golden Rules for Living Alone. At 78, Clara Jenkins had become something of a legend in her neighborhood. Her garden bloomed year-round, her cookies won every bake sale, and she had a twinkle in her eye that made everyone feel welcome. She'd been living alone for over a decade since her husband Harold passed, and she liked it that way, mostly. But Clara was wise. Living alone isn't just about enjoying the quiet, she often said. It's about staying smart. One afternoon, over tea with her granddaughter Lily, Clara decided to pass down what she called her golden rules. 12 things to avoid when living alone as an older person. First, she said, never skip your meds. It's too easy to forget, but too dangerous if you do. I use a pill organizer and alarms. They've saved me more than once. Second, she added, don't isolate yourself. It's tempting to stay in your bubble, but loneliness sneaks up on you. I call a friend every day and make it a rule to talk to someone outside the house at least once a week. Her third rule was practical. Don't ignore safety upgrades. I had grab bars installed in the bathroom and added motion lights outside. Doesn't matter if you feel steady, things change fast. Fourth, don't be stubborn about asking for help. I used to think I could carry everything from the grocery store myself. Silly, now I let the delivery folks do their job. She took a sip of tea before continuing. Fifth, don't let your house fall into disrepair. A small leak turns into a big flood. I keep a list of trusted handymen. Sixth, don't stop exercising. Just walking 20 minutes a day keeps me sharp and steady. Number 7, don't eat poorly. It's easy to grab crackers and call it dinner. I prep meals ahead, freeze them, keeps me feeling strong. Lily was writing things down. Clara smiled. 8th, don't hoard. I know it's hard to let go, but clutter's dangerous. If I haven't touched it in a year, out it goes. 9th, never ignore phone scams. If someone calls and it sounds fishy, I hang up. Simple as that. 10th rule, she said firmly, don't keep secrets. If something feels off, your health, your memory, your mood, tell someone. Don't carry it alone. Clara leaned in. 11th, don't skip checkups. I hate the doctor as much as anyone, but routine visits catch problems early. And finally, she said, softening, don't forget to enjoy life. Sing, paint, laugh, dance, even if no one's watching. That's what makes living alone feel like living. Lily looked up, eyes wide. Grandma, this is amazing. You should write a book. Clara chuckled. Maybe I just did. And with that, her 12 golden rules became a legacy, a quiet guide for anyone learning how to thrive, not just survive, in the golden years of living solo. Want me to turn the narrative, offering more emotional connection and weaving in more insights from her experiences. This can serve as a heartfelt continuation or second chapter to Mrs. Clara's Golden Rules for Living Alone. Chapter 2, What the Years Teach You. As Clara watched Lily scribble her notes, she leaned back in her favorite floral armchair, the one Harold had gifted her on their 40th anniversary. The house around her creaked softly, the kind of familiar whisper that only time and memory could make comforting. You know, Lily, Clara said, her voice softer now, those rules didn't come easy. Each one's a scar, a lesson I had to learn the hard way. She pointed to a ceramic angel on the mantel. After Harold passed, I didn't leave the house for nearly a month. I told everyone I was fine. But I wasn't. I'd cry in the kitchen, just making coffee. That was the first time I realized how dangerous silence can be. Not just because of the quiet, but because in the quiet, your mind can start telling stories that aren't true. No one cares about me, I thought. But that wasn't true. I just hadn't reached out. Clara stood slowly, walked to the window, and drew back the lace curtain. Outside, children rode bicycles, their laughter cutting through the spring air. Living alone teaches you about fear. Fear of falling, of forgetting, of becoming invisible. But it also teaches you strength. You learn that you can fix a dripping tap, that you can walk into a doctor's office alone and still advocate for yourself. It's a different kind of courage. She turned back to Lily. There was this one winter, must have been 5 years ago, when I slipped on the porch, broke my wrist, lay there for almost an hour before someone walked by. After that, I installed a camera and got one of those emergency buttons. It wasn't about being paranoid, it was about being prepared. That's something I always tell my friends. Don't let pride put you in danger. We're too old to be proud. Lily looked up, tears quietly welling. But Grandma, weren't you scared? Oh, honey, I was terrified. Still am, some days. But fear doesn't get to drive. It can ride along, sure, but I choose the direction. That's what living alone is. Really, it's choosing every day to keep going, to create a life filled with light, even when no one else is watching. Clara smiled warmly. That's why I bake. That's why I send birthday cards to the neighbors' kids and wave to the mailman like he's my nephew. It's not just about keeping busy. It's about staying connected. If I could give a 13th rule, it would be this. Don't forget you still matter. Whether you're 28 or 88, your story isn't over. You're still part of this world, and you still have the power to make someone's day just a little better. She placed her hand gently on Lily's. Promise me, when you're older, you'll remember that. Lily nodded. I promise. And in that quiet moment, with spring light dancing through the curtains and memories thick in the air, Clara's wisdom lived on. Not just in words, but in love passed down. Would you like... That evening, as Clara sat by the window with a quilt over her lap and a cup of chamomile tea in hand, she watched the sun dip low behind the trees. The golden hour always reminded her of Harold, how they used to sit together in this very spot, sharing stories of their day. Now she shared those stories with herself, and sometimes with Lily. Living alone hadn't dimmed her light, it had simply changed its shape. In the quiet, she had found resilience, in the solitude, a kind of peace, and in passing on her wisdom, a renewed sense of purpose.